Hey Gary, how you doing, man?
All right, Seb, how are you today?
I'm okay. It's a beautiful day, sun's shining, and birds are chirping. How's it where you are?
Oh, really, really nice, man. Sunny. I think about 80 today. I think 82, something like that.
82 degrees. Oh wow,
Yeah.
it's balmy weather. It's certainly that'd be like a really real hot day here. It's probably
Yeah.
like 68 or something like that right now.
Oh boy, yeah. That's
Nice.
too cold for me.
Well, we got those ocean breezes, and they keep things cool. But
Yeah.
hey, today our topic is how to leverage your sphere of influence to get business. How's that sound?
Yeah, that sounds really good. I mean, it's my favorite topic. Yeah.
It's your favorite topic. Okay, well, it's
Yeah.
not my favorite topic. I don't know what mine
No?
is, but it's definitely not that. Well, because I always feel that I do a bad job leveraging my sphere of influence to get business. I do get a considerable amount of business from my sphere of influence, but it's almost accidental, really, So, because I don't do it consciously. So, I'd like to hear from you what you're doing to leverage your sphere of influence to get business. So, what's the trick?
For a long time I just did the mailers. I
So
would
we did the mailers. You mean like you send them like a what exactly?
Yeah, like a seasonal postcard, Fourth of July, or like 4 or 5 a year, like
Yeah. Okay. So every other month, maybe or so.
yeah,
So you send out
every
how many postcards you send out?
I think at least a couple hundred.
A couple hundred, right? Well,
Yeah,
that's actually a good size sphere, right? A good
yeah,
size sphere of influence should be about a couple hundred people, right?
yeah,
You don't
yeah.
really need to have like 500 people because the reality is you can't have quality relationships with 500 people, really. You can
No, no,
even
absolutely.
200 is kind of a stretch, really, but I have about a similar number in my sphere, about slightly over 200, maybe
Yeah.
225, something like that. So you send them a postcard every couple of months, and what does it say? Hey, give me business. What's on the postcard?
well, the postcard. It's pretty simple, I mean, obviously, Happy New Year or whatever, and then the back of the card, my information. I use Corfact. Uh,
Corfact, okay.
yeah, yeah.
Corfact.com, everybody.
Yeah.
Shout out to Corfact.
So on the back, it has the home valuation. Hey, you want to know your home value? Um, Simple home value website on the back, right? Home values are changing. You want to know your home value? Click here or call me.
What size postcard do you do? Do you do like the big half sheet, or do you do like a 4x6, or what size postcard do you send out?
Yeah, I just did the basic 4x6.
Is
Yeah,
this the basic 4x6, huh?
yeah. I think I should
So
spend.
like
I
Happy
should
Fourth
go.
of July from
Yeah,
Gary.
yeah.
Does it say anything else besides Happy Fourth of July? Does it say call me, or like let's do
Well,
lunch?
yeah, yeah. Like I said, it's a simple. It's already template. They have everything on it already. On the back, it just says, your home value. Here's the website. You can check your home value or call me if you have any questions. Simple. N-
Simple, right?
Not
Okay.
not
So
selling anything. Yeah.
right, so you send that out a couple times every other month to about 200 people, and
Yeah.
what does that cost to send one of those mailers out? Would you say
Those are about 80 cents a piece.
80 cents a piece, so like $160 done?
Yeah.
So $80 a month, basically, to reach out to your sphere of influence. And how often does that actually cause somebody to call you or text you or email you or and just say, "Hey, Gary, what's up? By the way, I want to sell a house or I want to buy a house."
That's tricky. It's not that often, but when you do talk to them, they might bring it up, right? So if you
Right.
call, so every once in a while, that's what I need to get better at, calling them more often.
Right. Well, it certainly helps keep you top of mind. But just speaking about the Corfact part, do they
Yeah,
ever actually look up their home value on Corfact?
a lot of them do it. Yeah, a
Do
lot of
you
them
call
do.
them after they look up their home value on Corfact?
Not not really.
I love the honesty. Not really. Can't be bothered. I know you're curious about your home, but just talk to my computer.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, that's actually a very good point because people talk about mailings, really, and I've done mailings many times over the years. I can't say how much I've spent on mailings, and I've never really had much success with it. I haven't had zero, but I've had very close to zero success with it. And one thing that I've come to grips with is the fact that it's not just enough to mail them. you need to call after the mailing, right? So you mail and then you call, but you don't, I mean, but even when you call, let's say you call 200 people, you're only going to talk to maybe 20, right? Something like
Right.
that. You're going to go to voicemail most of the time.
Right.
But at least if you just make the effort, they'll see that you're making the effort, that it's not actually just a, an automated thing that Gary spent $160 on.
Yeah.
And sent this automated thing out. It does show that there's a real person back there who actually is intentional and cares, at least to some extent, about the messaging that they are sending you.
Right.
So
right.
That's one thing that I found. I think it's just a good lesson for everybody, is that don't expect that you can just mail. I mean, maybe if you're doing a farm, which is not your sphere of influence, so that's not what we're talking about today. But if you're doing a farm for like 500 or 1,000 people, right, then yeah, maybe don't call after the mailing, because who has the time to call 500 or 1,000 people routinely? But if you are, wanting to talk to like a smaller set of people, like your sphere of influence or past clients, then definitely call after the mailing.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I think that's something I need to get better at. Call people at least, a couple times a year, at least, if not.
At least. And so that's my next question, Gary. So aside from the mailings, do you ever call your sphere of influence?
I do, but not as often. I should.
How often do you call like you have about 200 people in your sphere? How many of those people do you talk to at least once a year?
Probably not even half of those.
Probably not even half of those.
Yeah.
But, okay. So that's fine. I mean, if we're being honest, I never call my sphere. It's like a point of pride with me almost now. Although that's not what you should do. If you're listening to me, don't do that. I've been doing it for too long.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of bad habits. If you're newer in real estate, like under 5 or 10 years, that is newer in real estate, by the way.
Yeah.
Newer in real estate, then don't have that bad habit. Get over yourself. Call your sphere of influence. Okay, but now we've established that neither you or I are doing a very good job of calling our sphere, but I don't do mailings and you do. Actually, I have done some mailings.
Yeah.
But I haven't done them in a while. I did them, to my sphere like 6 times, and then I let it go. So I'm bad. But but aside from calling and sending snail mail, are there any other things that you do to stay in touch with your sphere of influence?
I mean, the emails, right, from the website, from the IDX website.
Oh, so drip feed of MLS listings.
Yeah.
Do you have any kind of a newsletter of any kind that you send out?
No newsletter.
No newsletter. Okay. Do you have any kind of regular email that you send them aside from IDX email listings?
No, just the IDX email listings. I mean, I usually set up a market report.
A market report.
Yeah.
What platform do you use for your market report?
Chime.
Chime.
Yeah.
You're a Chime user.
Yeah.
Really? How long have you had your Chime site for?
It's been a while.
I was a Chime user for like a year or two.
Yeah.
So how many people do you have in your Chime system?
I mean, as far as leads, probably
everybody. Total number of people, leads and SOI and past clients, and
probably 1,200 people in there.
1,200 people. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Okay. And so you send them market reports. That's what, once a month?
Yeah, those are automated monthly. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And do you find that people actually reach out to you based on what they are seeing in these market reports or the email listings?
Not really. I do see that people are looking, checking, right?
Right.
Right. Yeah, time to time you get automated, like, I don't know, they accidentally click or something.
Right.
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, God, Gary doesn't call me now.
Yeah. So I noticed they click on something, right, to check their value or something. You get notifications, but you hardly ever get them on the phone.
But when they do click a link, do you call them ever, or what percent?
I do. I try. Most of the time.
Try, but how often? Yeah. You say, like, let's just say there's 20 link clicks in a month. How many of them do you call?
I call 20.
You do?
Yeah. I don't miss on those, but I mean, it's hardly ever
all 20. I mean, okay, so let's just say I'm your wife's cousin or something like that, right? Okay, you're in my sphere of influence.
Yeah.
It's on the link. What do you say when you call them up?
Yeah, hey, I noticed that you were looking at your property values. Can Can I help you with understanding your property value? Have any questions?
Uh-huh. And what are they? Well, first of all, usually it's like, oh, it's Gary, gonna send him to voicemail.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, most of the time, oh, that was just I was just clicking, you know.
But if you do get a hold of them and you do actually have a talk to them and you ask that question, how does the conversation usually go?
Well, usually, you know, they're just curious, you know, about their property. Everybody is. That's one thing every homeowner wants to know, their property value.
That's right. That's right.
So if you can keep them updated, I think chances are, if they're moving, they might consider you.
Do you
Yeah.
ask them, have you ever thought about selling your house, or do you not ask that question? You don't
No, I
right
don't.
out and say it.
Yeah, I don't ask that question. I
You don't ask
should.
that question.
I should, huh?
Well, I don't know. I mean, they would say yes. You know, they would say, yeah, you should ask that question. I don't, right? I'm just playing devil's advocate here, so because I don't know how
Yeah.
to do that. But okay, well, that's good. That's good. You know, like I have some of those systems too. I don't have Chime anymore. I have a different system that I use,
Yeah.
and I send out religiously every week. I send out like a big fat email to my list, which is about 8,300 active subscribers to it, something like that. And I send that list out, email out every week at the same time every week, and includes my sphere of influence, my past clients, and all my prospects, right? All the leads that I have. That's basic. And there's also like vendors on there and mortgage reps and like not real estate agents, God forbid, just mortgage people, title escrow, maybe appraisers, right? You know, like anybody who's not like competition, basically, I'll send them a
Yeah.
weekly email. And you know, I don't get that many responses to my weekly email. I do sometimes get responses, but what I get really in terms of, instead of like direct responses, is I'll get calls that are just out of the blue. Really, they're maybe like 4 or 5 days later, and they're not referencing my previous email that I sent 4 or 5 days ago. But it's just like it keeps me top of mind with all these people, right? You know, so they reach out to me, so I don't have to reach out to them directly. And then they do, you know, they do reach out to me directly. So that is how I nurture my sphere of influence, by being very, very routine with the email. It's always the same day of the week, the same time of day, same format, right? So like people know kind of what to expect. And then I take that content, by the way, and then I put it into my blog, right? I add it to my blog, right? You know, to keep the blog, you know, happy. And, you know, I do a YouTube video, which you know, I embed like a little link to the YouTube video inside the email. And that is basically my biggest way to keep in touch with my sphere of influence. You know, in terms of mailing, I do a Christmas card every year to like my best former clients, sphere of influence, and assorted other random people. I said last year was like around 250 cards, and they were handwritten. The envelope was handwritten by me. The card was handwritten and signed by me, right? And usually it's just a couple of, you know, just a few words, you know, happy holidays, hope to see you soon, you know, like all the best in the new year, right? Just send it out. And people write to me and they say, thank you for that. You know, like I run into people and they're saying, oh, I got your card. Thank you for that. You know, so that is the one mailing that I do, is a handwritten Christmas mailing, and it's a picture of me and the wife and the kids, right? You know, so it's like a genuine thing from my family to yours. So that helps. That helps, I think, you know, maintain, you know, some sort of authenticity, because hardly anyone sends Christmas cards, right? I send out like 250 and we get 25, you know, something like that.
That's true. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's less and less now. Yeah.
Less
So
and less. So
yeah,
therefore, it makes more and more of an impact, right? So, but
yeah.
what else do you do to stay in contact or stay in front of your sphere of influence? Do you do anything? Do you do any like events, maybe anything like that?
You know what? No, I thought about doing that. I think I may try some of those. If you have any ideas.
Oh, I do. So what
Yeah.
I do is when I get a good listing, which it doesn't work for all listings, right? It wouldn't work for like a condo. It wouldn't work for somewhere where there's like tight parking. Maybe where you are, there's plenty of parking everywhere. But where I am, a lot of neighborhoods are basically, they have very little to no parking. But if I have like a good house that can accommodate a crowd, I love to do a taco truck, right? And so I'll do a taco truck open house. Taco truck costs like, I forget, it's like $600, something like that, for a taco truck. And then I invite all the neighbors. and then I invite my sphere of influence, right? So first of all, I look around and I see like what other leads do I have of homeowners anywhere with like a similar house or whatever, I'll go through there and I'll invite those people too, but I will definitely invite my sphere of influence, and they are the ones who really come. It's not so much the random neighbors, right? They don't really come because they don't really know me. Maybe they get my email, right? But I do have usually couple of dozen maybe people from my sphere of influence might come out to the taco truck and get some tacos, right? And we hang out, we talk, so it's all a good write-off, but it's a great way to show my appreciation. And everybody loves a good taco, right? Do you know anybody who doesn't like tacos, Gary?
I don't think so. Everybody like tacos.
Everybody likes tacos.
Yeah.
Everybody likes tacos around the world. The taco is very well. So that's what I do. And then, one time right before COVID, I did a Thanksgiving pie party, right? Which they always talk about, right? So I had a big old house with plenty of kitchen space, and I invited my sphere over there. And I bought like, I don't know, 30 pies, something like that, and I invited a bunch of people. I didn't know how many people came, and I got rid of almost all the pies, right? So some people will say, oh yeah, we do these events, we have like hundreds of people come, like I don't know who these people are or where they're doing business, but where I'm doing business, it's hard to get people to come out to fight traffic, right? To like go somewhere at a specific time, right? To get a small reward like tacos or like a pie party thing, right? But nevertheless, it does in fact give you some time to be, face to face with a person, right? Because that's the best time of all, right? Is face to face time. So if you have a good open house, I strongly recommend it, because also it makes it look really good for the neighbors, right? The neighbors are seeing that you are doing not an average open house. You're doing like a super open house, right? It also really impresses the sellers, right? And then it works great for, bringing your sphere of influence in, and having some time with them, some FaceTime.
True. I never thought about that. Yeah. So you just invite everybody to the open house.
Just invite everybody. Just invite everybody. So sometimes, like, depends. I work in a kind of like a wide geographic region, right? So I might not invite people who are from far away, right? Like anybody's like 50 miles away, I'm not going to invite them to that, right? But anybody who could reasonably expect it to get there within maybe 20 to 30 minutes, I would probably invite them. So are there any other thing? Like, are you in the country club? You look like a country club guy, Gary. Are you a country club member?
Not really, no.
No. You play golf? Do you go fishing? Do you have anything like that where you hang out with the random people or your sphere of influence?
Not really. I just like to hang out at home.
You're a homebody.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I always wanted to learn how to play golf. So maybe that might help, to grow my network.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess, like you hear from a lot of people that, all I do, my only marketing is I play golf, right? I hear that I've heard that several times, or people say, oh yeah, like like Temple, that's my only place that I get business from, right?
Yeah.
Or like I work at like some kind of like a charity or something like that, or I'm on the board of something like that. A lot of people do that, and yeah, I got a great lead the other day from a woman I used to be on the board with. She called me out of the blue, said, I want to buy this house. And it was $2.5 million. And we didn't get the house because there was another buyer that offered more, and the seller didn't want to negotiate. He wanted to only just take the best offer and not give anybody a chance to improve their offer at all. But whatever,
Yeah.
But that was out of the blue, from somebody that, but you know what? I did have lunch with her. Like, I don't know, like 9 months ago or whatever. I said, hey, let's get together for lunch, because I still care about the organization that we were on the board. I'm just not on the board anymore, right?
Yeah.
And so, and she's on my email list and gets my spam, and she just called me out of the blue.
Wow.
Yeah. And that happens quite a bit, really. I mean, quite a bit. I just have these people call out of the blue because I'm not like calling them up. But do you ever like make time to like invite any of your past clients or sphere just out to lunch? No expectations, just like, hey, hey Frank, let's go grab whatever, some chow mein someplace or something. Or
you know what? I'm cheap, man. I maybe I should try that.
So I used to do that. So last year, I was doing that routinely. I would take somebody out to lunch once a week, and you know what? Half the time they would insist on paying anyway. you know. So,
Really?
yeah, yeah, they're like, no, Seb, because no, let me pay, they'd say, let me pay, right? I'm like, whatever. And we're not going to like expensive places necessarily, right? It's just like whatever. But yeah, I would go out, and it's just to have a connection with people, especially people who have referred you business in the past. How
True.
many people in your sphere of influence would you say that you have who have referred you? Of these 200 people, how many of them actually given you a referral?
Ooh, not many. I think out of those 200, probably 10 people
And
have referred me. Yeah.
well, that's what we would call your A list,
Yeah.
right? Those
Yeah.
10 are your A list. And ideally, you would grow your A list to like 20 people
Yeah.
who are actively giving you referrals at least once in a while. And then if they can drop off the A list as somebody else comes on the A list, but well, I would suggest that maybe those 10 people are people that you should start calling and inviting them out to lunch, right?
No, that's
Even coffee if you're a cheap bastard.
yeah. Is there a coffee shop that's cheaper than Starbucks?
Coffee shops are cheaper, right? I mean, you may get
Yeah.
out of there for $20, the two
Yeah.
of you, give them a pastry, and you don't
Yeah.
have a pastry because you don't like carbs, you're watching your weight, right? So you just have
Yeah.
a coffee or a tea and get them a coffee and a pastry and just, shoot the breeze for a while, why not, right?
No, that's true. That's true. I think that's something I need to do more often.
Yeah, I mean, like your A list, like your top 10, right?
Yeah.
I mean, those, but even if you don't even if you're like new in business and you don't have anybody who's like referred you any business yet, you could imagine who would be on your top 10, right? I mean, like, and here's a hint, find somebody who currently owns a house who is maybe upwardly mobile, right? Income wise, right? And because they would have friends who are probably in that same group of people, who
Yeah.
are upwardly mobile, have good income, and could provide good referrals to you. So if you don't actually have like people who have referred you or a past client base, just start with the people that you know. And when you take them to lunch, I mean, the classic thing would be to say, hey, do you know anybody who's looking to buy or sell real estate, right? But I don't do that. I don't do that because I'm very bad, right? What I do is I say, hey, how are things with work, right? And then they'll tell me how things are with work. And then you know how conversation works, like I ask you something and then you ask me something. That's how conversation is supposed to flow. What do you think their question is after I ask them, hey, how are things with work? What do you think they ask me? Almost always.
How's your business?
How's the real estate business, right? It's like clockwork, right? That's what they say.
Yeah.
How's the real estate business, And then you say, first of all, you never say it's bad, right? You always say it's good, right? Or you always say it's really busy. And this is a fact, kids. I'm always really busy. I'm either really busy in a transaction or I'm really busy trying to get more transactions going, right? So the answer is I'm always really busy. Real estate's a hustle. And if you're not hustling, either A, you have assistants and staff who take care of all the hustle for you, or you're just not working, right? That's the reality. So you need to be hustling. So when people call me, when I talk to people in person, they say, how's business? I say, I'm really busy. And this point is where you would normally say, by the way, do you know anybody who's thinking about buying or selling? And I don't do that. I choke, right? I don't do that. But you know what happens? About half the time after they ask me about that, they say unprompted, well, if I hear of anybody, I'll let you know, right? That happens a lot with not even me having to ask. But I would say that overall because I hear from other people who do have those conversations that almost never do they actually say, oh yeah, now that you mention it, my neighbor's going to sell his $10 million house, right? Like that basically doesn't happen.
No,
right?
no.
The value in the exchange is not you telling me about somebody's going to sell their house. The value in the exchange is creating that relationship, right? And then reaffirming it. And then, again, staying top of mind. And they might feel like they owe you something if you did, in fact, take them out to lunch, right? They might say, oh, Gary bought me a $25 sandwich. I better give him a, $500,000 lead, right? Subconsciously.
Yeah, I mean, relationships are built over time, So if they trust you, they're gonna send you business anyway. They're gonna refer people to you anyway. So
right.
Staying in touch somehow, like I say, whatever you can do, phone calls, emails, text messages, which you can hardly do anymore. Mailers, right? Uh-huh.
Well, I think you can do text messaging, especially like if you're on iMessaging, right? If you're saying an
Right.
iMessage, that's not
Right.
going to get filtered because that doesn't go through a carrier,
Right.
right? So maybe in the
Right.
future when we are on RCS or other messaging platforms, it's just the text messaging that tends to get blocked these days by the spam filters. But if you are on some other protocol that you message with people, like for example, Facebook, like do you do any kind of communication with your sphere of influence on Facebook or Instagram or whatever?
No, just the posting,
What do you
on my
post on Facebook?
just random stuff, real estate related.
You ever do any personal stuff like, hey, here's me with my lovely wife and our beautiful kids, and we're on vacation now, or anything fun like that? Or is it always
Just
just like the median home price in Fresno today was?
yeah, something like that. There's always automated posting tools, right? Uh,
Do you do any personal postings, Gary? Do you ever like personally post anything about your life or anything?
no, I think most of my people sphere are just fans of my page. I just post stuff on my page.
Right, that's it.
Yeah.
Right. So I post on Facebook. I have some Facebook groups, right? I have two Facebook groups, and really one is kind of like on ice right now, but one is active right now. So I post on that. That's for my community. I have like my own community group. There's about 4,900 people on there now. And so I post in that, but usually what I'm posting is like news articles and community events and stuff like that. Like I'll post on that like I don't know, 5, 10 times a week, maybe something like that, right? But that's only a limited people. That's not my sphere. But to my actual on my wall, I will post, pictures of, like, whatever, hey, we did this, we did that. Here's a beautiful house. Here's a beautiful sunset. Like I'll do that. But then the other thing, of course, is that I go and I do go a little bit deep in my feed and I look at people, right? And I'll like give likes and hearts and all like write little messages once in a while, so I will stay engaged. But from a good thing you can do that actually is really clever and not very expensive to stay in touch with your sphere of influence is that you can create like a custom audience in Facebook of only your sphere of influence, right? Your 200 people, or maybe you can do sphere of influence plus like your 1,000 or 2,000 best leads. If you have a small audience like that, you can target postings that will go just to that group of people, right? So that and Facebook will make sure they see it, right? Because you're paying, right? So you'll get really high visibility with not that much money. You could do a list of that size, 1 to 2,000 people for like $50 a month, right? And you could make sure that all of them are seeing your messages all the time. So that's probably talking about doing mailings, right? That's less money than doing mailings, and it will maybe be a video message too. It could be like whatever kind of message, linked to your website, like whatever.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way to do social media just to your sphere of influence, is actually pay to have your message sent to them. And the message shouldn't be, do you want to buy or sell your house, right? It should be something else besides that that's actually interesting and catchy that they're going to find interesting, right? It's going to get them to comment, like, share, or maybe even send you a private message, something like that to like, get the conversation going.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Maybe some new agents listening, they're starting off, they don't know where to start. Maybe that's a great place to start with Facebook.
It's a very economical place to start for Facebook for sure, and again, because it's easy, but nothing beats picking up the phone. Nothing beats that. But you know what? It can supplement that, right? Because some people you're never going to be able to get on the phone, right? So that's not a bad way to go. But
True.
I got some bad news, man. We are just about out of time here. Do you have any final thoughts or words of advice?
No, I was just gonna say, you gotta pretty much do everything a little bit. Some people like phone calls, some people may not like phone calls, some people want to hear from you, and maybe on the Facebook, or some people want to receive your postcard, different way to contact people. So I think you have to do everything a little bit.
That's right. And communicate to people how they want to be communicated with, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's another thing as well. All right. Well, I guess that's all for this episode, Gary. Thank you so much. Really
All right.
enjoyed our chat here. And I learned that you and I both need to get far better
I know. Yeah.
reaching out to our sphere, because even me, the bad job that I do, it's like seriously, it might be 40% of my business.
Yeah.
Something like that. So
Well, that's great.
all right, Gary. Well, hey,
Okay.
man, thank you so much. We'll catch you again next week, as I
Got
said.
it. Got it. Later. Bye.
All right, buddy. See you later.
Bye.